Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerome Salimal, and the title of my talk today is You Are More Than Code, or How to Get Product Liftoff as a Developer. So I'm sure we as developers have all said this at least once, or thought it at least once to ourselves. And it's something along the lines of, hey, I have a crazy idea. I have no idea if it's going to work. Something like that. I'm sure we've all thought it at least once. And today, what I'm going to do is share a quick story with you all that recounts how I went from one of these crazy ideas on a journey that where we ended up building a fun MVP that ended up being released to production and onto the Atlassian marketplace. It also kickstarted my transition into product management, which was super exciting. So before I jump in, just a little bit about me first. So I'm a product manager here at Easy Agile. Easy Agile is a company based in Wollongong, Australia. We build Jira add-ons on the Atlassian marketplace that help our customers all around the world be agile. I recently transitioned from engineering into product. Before this, I was working in engineering for over 10 years here in Australia, the United Kingdom, and in Germany. I'm mostly a front-end developer, but in a previous life, I was building legacy banking and trading applications using boring technologies. So we are based in Wollongong, Australia. We're very lucky to be near the beach. So I love to surf, love to swim. I also, during the subsequent lockdowns of 2021, got into tropical houseplants. These are some of my favorites. I couldn't take this photo today because they've all grown too big. So story time. So here at Easy Agile, we have something called Inception Week. And it's basically every 10 to 11 weeks, everybody at the company has a chance to work on whatever they want. We pitch ideas to the company and we try to form 3 teams to see how far we can progress that idea in 1 week. And this was towards the end of 2021. One of our product marketing managers had an idea, and unfortunately, it wasn't technically possible within our constraints of that week. So we were on the lookout for a new idea. And that's when I busted out that line. I remember being on that Zoom call saying to the team, oh, hey team, I've got a crazy idea. I really don't know if this is going to work, but hear me out. So what was the crazy idea? So I had been sitting on this idea for a number of weeks, and it really came out of a conversation I had overheard from an exchange between product managers here. And I remember Nadine saying something like, oh, our retro's tomorrow, the board's empty. I always have to remind our developers to put in their retro items. And later that afternoon, I actually forgot my login for the retro tool we were using at the time. And I just thought to myself, surely there's a better way of doing this, or surely we can make this better for ourselves. So this is a screenshot of one of our products, which is on the Jira marketplace. It's called User Story Maps, and it helps our customers visualize their backlogs in a 2D way. So they're the epics along the top and issues that go vertically. Our customers use it for all sorts of things, story mapping, obviously, but also for sprint planning and backlog refinement. And the light bulb moment for me after hearing that conversation was, is there a way where we could also use it at the end of the sprint, at the retro ceremony that happens every 2 weeks? And that was the idea. And to be really honest, I wasn't sure how far I could take it on my own. And I wasn't sure if the team would be on board. But I remember Brad, one of our engineers, just saying something like along the lines of, I don't know if it's going to work either, but flip it. Let's give it a crack. We can ask for forgiveness later. So this is the crew. And this is, I just mentioned Brad. He's one of our engineers, and he's also a really great designer. We also had Belle, who is a grad on our team, a graduate engineer. We have Jared on the team, who's a staff level engineer. And we also were very lucky to have Jasmine, who is a product marketing manager. To this day, I attribute the success of our little Inception Week project mainly to the people that we had on the team or on the crew. We just got super lucky. So if there's one tip, I guess my first tip would be find a good mix of people who complement your skills. I think we as developers, we really should branch out, see who is in your organization, make it a point to meet these different people and learn what they do and how you can help each other solve problems or solve customer problems. So it was Monday morning. We had the team together. We had the idea and we had a rough idea of what we wanted to achieve in that week. But before I go into how we tackled that, I wanted to share a tiny bit of theory. As I mentioned, I've been doing the transition from engineering to product for the past 2 months or 2 months now, I'd say. And I've been doing all sorts of courses and reading all sorts of material with all these crazy fancy diagrams in them. But this is really the only one you're going to need. If there was one secret to getting product or feature liftoff, this is it. So the diagram you see on your screen lists the three key things that make a product successful. The first thing is being aware of what the customer needs are. So what will you solve by implementing this feature or this product? The second is business goals. How will the business benefit from this product or feature? And the third is product strategy. How will this help the product moving forward after implementing this feature or strategy or product? So when we talk about success, we're talking about that magical quality that a feature or product has. It's something called product market fit, something that product managers call product market fit. And that's what we're really trying to aim for. So for us in our inception week, I knew customers were doing retros, and I knew they were probably doing it outside of Jira or outside of their tools. And I knew that we could make that better for them, or that's what we were hoping to do. And so that was our definition of success for the week. So I just touched on what success from a product perspective looked like for us that inception week. But from a developer's point of view, what you really need to do is really distill the idea down to its most basic and determine what the absolute minimum you can build is to demonstrate value for the customer or for the business. And so what we did is we really chose to make it, we really chose to be able to create retro items within our app without leaving Jira. And that was our goal. And that was the absolute minimum that we were hoping to get done by the end of the week. We didn't aim for perfect. We didn't even aim for good. We just wanted to get something working and just iterate on that. We didn't write tests. We didn't write any user stories. We didn't do any analytics. I don't think we did any TypeScript as well. It was super hacky, a dog's breakfast. But the idea was that we wanted to collaborate fast, get it working and keep it working and improve as we were going. So the next thing we did is we divided and conquered. We started off with a Figma sketch. So Brad designed a quick mock-up of what it could look like, what a retro board could look like within our app. Myself and Belle built the actual integration within our application, within user story maps. And at the same time, Jared was doing the cloud backend. So we use Express and Postgres if you're interested with the Atlassian Connect. And we also chose to do it cloud only or cloud first, just because within our organization, we do that much faster. It's a much faster development cycle. So by the end of day 2, we actually had a working prototype of the bare bone minimums. And it started to snowball from there, really. We started laying down the groundwork for other features like voting, linking retro items to issues, and even creating issues, Jira issues from the retro board for actions that may have come out of the retro. It got really exciting and we were having such a good time. By the end of day 2, we knew we were onto something. There was that magic in the air, and I think most developers will understand that feeling. But I think what was so successful here, I guess the lesson learned for us is really playing to our strengths, dividing and conquering the different parts of the application. How can you split it up? Who can do it? Who can do it fast, or who can do it most effectively? Oh, and we were pushing to a shared branch. it got really messy. We were pushing no verify. So I think most developers will understand what that means. So I just mentioned what the developers were doing and how we were approaching the development of the actual feature. But at the same time, Jasmine was doing some magic. So Jasmine is a product marketing manager here at Easy Agile. And to be completely honest, before this inception week, I didn't really know what she did. It's one of those job titles where you really don't know. I thought that maybe I knew she bought ads on search engine ads, and I knew she sent out those marketing emails, but I didn't know what she did for the rest of the time. But what she did for us in this inception week, she took it from an idea or a demo to a proof of concept that a manager or a stakeholder or a customer could understand, and they could understand why it was worth doing or why it was worth buying. And so what I think she was putting together, without doing it overtly or sort of just behind the scenes, is she was putting together a pitch. And I think I gave this its own slide because I think this is something that we as engineers it's not a skill that we often get to practice. So how did she do that? She was in the trenches with us from day one. She was learning about the problem space and how we were planning to solve it. She was helping to refine the ideas. At the same time we were developing, she was doing competitor analysis, and she shared some key insights with us for the MVP. And most helpful, she built the narrative that we could share with the management and with customers in a blog post, which clearly communicated the value to the customer and to the business. And this was, I think, key to our success, because just building something cool isn't enough. People need to know about it and they need to know why it's important. So what happened next? So at the end of the inception week, we did a demo to the whole company, and it was a hit. Shortly after, we started dog fooding it for ourselves. We did an internal release, and we started doing our retros in our retro app. And I'm really, really proud to say that it's actually been released to the marketplace, to production, as part of our user story maps product. It's been released as a beta. We have customers already using it today. So what happened next? So just like any good feature or any good product, we continue to iterate on retros, our retro offering. So one of the fun things that happened was in the inception week that followed, I got a group of graduates together, and we were trying to inject the goal for that inception week was trying to inject some fun into the retros. You know, we're into the third year of living in pandemic life, and we just wanted to make retros more fun. So I'm just going to show you a quick clip of what the graduates were able to do in that week. Put your sound up.
From here, when we do the next sprint, we actually have added an option to add a little bit more of an interesting option for the answers, which is a song. So now Connor here can search in the song and pick one for sprint.
Let's Go Crazy by Niles Barkley.
And so this end of sprint retro, we can have a look, and hopefully we will have a few songs there that we can all enjoy together with our nice 30-second preview.
All right.
So that was really fun. So the graduates were able to get to use a Spotify API to just do some experiments. And we continue to try these new ideas and see where they end up. And I think that's the whole point of Inception Week for us. So just to reiterate some of the key learnings from our Inception Week. The first one would be to make space and time for innovation. So this whole thing wouldn't be possible if our leadership team, if Dave and Nick, our CEOs, for example, didn't give us this free time to just go crazy and go wild and and really just experiment with new ideas. The second would be to keep an ear to the ground. I think we as developers, we're really uniquely placed to solve customer problems. The trick is just to hear them, to listen to them. Listen to what your team is saying, listen to what people in your organization are saying, and see what you can learn and see what problems you can try to help solve. My third tip would be to find or build an awesome crew of people to help you build or help you get liftoff. I could not have done this without them. The fourth, build the minimum and iterate. It's the best way to get an idea off the ground. It's the best way to identify ideas that are worth doing. And it's the best way to demonstrate value. Number 5, pitch it or find someone else like Jasmine to help you do that. A good idea or a good demo is not enough. People need to understand the value or the impact that this feature or the product is going to have. And the last point I'd have is just to have fun. So I'm about to finish up, and I hope if there's one thing that you take away from this today, it's that you as engineers, you should be bold, you should be curious. You are more than just the code that you're writing. And what are the next steps? So it's your turn. So if you were interested in building applications for the Atlassian Marketplace, I'd probably start by reading the Atlassian Connect API documents, or trying the cool kid on the block, the cool new kid on the block, which is called Forge, which has a new, more modern developer experience. Thank you and have fun.